What's 100?
What's it?
No.
Oh, hari kale mo
Kale no.
we we I grew up. You want to look straight into the camera?
Either 100%. All
Anyone
right.
is fine.
Okay.
Anyone is fine.
100%. Okay, so so I grew up in Sharpeville, and that is a very small area in the Val. Okay. Oh, okay. Ke nahana o batla something. Excuse. Oh yeah. Okay, so all right, so I grew up in Sharpeville, Gavoga, and I grew up with my grandmother, actually my mother's mother. I grew up as a very happy, vibrant child, very, very energetic at the time. And also, I grew up having a lot of relationships. I had a lot of friends. You know, like everywhere I went, I just made friends. And I remember I was moving from one point to another. Like I said, I grew up in Sharpeville, Kavok. No, Gaditenteng, that's at my mother's place. Then we moved, when my parents got married, we then moved to Voga. It's still in Sharpeville. And so I'm now staying at my father's parents' house. And then about a year or so after they got married, we then lived in Vanderbijl Park. It is also in the Val, that's CW2. And it was very lovely. I remember my childhood was, I actually remember it like it was yesterday. It was like, I was such a happy child, such a free spirited child. I used to make friends everywhere I go. Everybody used to just love me. Very talkative as well. You know, you couldn't get me to shut up no matter what you tried. And then, yes. And then now.
What kind of games did you play growing up?
Oh, we used to play Diketo. I don't know if you know Diketo. That's where you have like maybe 10 stones and you have one and just throwing it up. So Diketo, we played Khati. I remember Scotch as well. Oh, absolutely fantastic. Those are the games.
Oh yes. Shoot, kilometers. Where I grew up.
I gave you the relationships.
How I grew up.
A vibrant child.
In
the relationships.
Okay, growing up. Okay, how are you growing up? The type of relationships. The type of relationships growing up.
What do you mean?
So how so really from having a lot of kids and being vibrant, and since you had like younger sisters and brothers, obviously growing up your relationship changes, not just with yourself, Mara, with everything around you. And
okay, you're saying a lot of things I'm gonna forget. All right, so
okay,
basically you want to know
how your relationships changed as you grew up.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I'm the firstborn at home. So after me, Hulata, my sister Lonia, and she was absolutely beautiful. I'm saying was because she's late. So I lost her at the age of 10. She had epilepsy. And yeah, that was quite sad because I remember how I just used to imagine myself playing with her, growing up with her, us being the best of sisters, and you know, and to lose her at such a young age, it was absolutely drastic and traumatic as well. But yeah, but then I think growing up into my late teens, I started, or I can say the circle started.
It became smaller.
The circle started becoming smaller and smaller. That's the circle of friends, and I guess even more smaller growing up, older, like into my 20s. that is where one started to really analyze who is actually supposed to be in my life and who is not, who's important, what's important, and what's not as well. I still remember when I was in boarding school. I left grade, yes, I left Riverside in grade 11. I then went to a boarding school because I had failed. I remember I went to Riverside from grade 8. And then I failed for the first time grade 11. That was not too bad, all right? That was not too bad. I was like, okay, mama is like, yeah, you failed because you were playing, go back. Then go. I went back and it was not too bad. But then I failed the second time, the very same grade. And that was just too much. I remember I remember taking my results from the hall. So we had to go into the hall, and then we grade 11s are there on that table, grade 10s and so forth. And I remember taking my results because obviously the teachers were not too well. There was one specific teacher that was not too fond of me, and she couldn't wait to show the whole school that I had failed. I remember opening my results and seeing exactly that I failed. I screamed for joy. I started saying, yay, yay, yay. Oh my word, with the hope that I will not go back to that school. Yo, I started running out of the hall. This teacher that I'm saying was not very fun. She was my maths teacher, ran after me to try and show the whole school that I'm actually pretending. I just remember running out of the crowd and just getting out of that hall. And that was the last time they saw me. No, actually, it's when I failed the first time.
Oh.
It's when I failed the first time that I did that, and then I had to go back to the same school. Imagine, I had just I have just screamed for joy to say I'm also going to grade 12 matric, and the next year I was in the queue with the grade 11s. Yeah, that was not right. That was just not nice. So yeah. But otherwise, I spent the year in Riverside again. I failed again, and I went to boarding school this time. And when I arrived at a Christian boarding school, I excelled. I started being actually an A student. I absolutely excelled when I got there. This is now still grade 11, and obviously I passed, went on to matric, and I passed my matric as well. But hey, I remember grade 12, the last term, being very, very, very sick. You know, I was extremely sick that my mom actually had to take me. I had to leave boarding school and be at home. So I had to travel for the exams, but I was extremely sick. I'm not sure if it was the nerves or this and that. You know, you will have all these different views from people. But I was very sick during my last exams there in matric. But by God's grace, I made it. And I did pass my matric. What's the next question?
What is the next question?
I remember how during my matric year, I didn't want a man next to me. I'm saying this because I remember that this was the point where everybody is starting to date, and you know, the girls are starting to be excited about guys and everything. I did not want a guy next to me because in my head it was all about the embarrassment of failing grade 11 twice. And you know, when you're young, you just think that these things will eventually reveal, and I didn't want such a thing to reveal, and yet I have a partner that I have to face. And so I just didn't want any drama. But after matric, I remember I immediately met this man who is actually the father of my son. This is immediately after matric. I finished my matric in 2009, and in 2010 I met him. and I was in a relationship with this guy. Oh, but it was lovely. At the beginning, it was absolutely lovely. I just loved that relationship because it was the first time after. Well, it was really actually the first time that I'm actually in a relationship that I'm focused on, and I kind of know now what a relationship is and so forth out of school, and I was so happy. I was just extremely happy with this man. Tjona we askisi. Jo ke ntho a se metse no nto one. Hona ntho we tseng ka mo. Tjona me we. Ha o no kgona wa no ka yona ntho. I don't stress askisi. So all right, so I met him, dated for like 5 years. 4 years. Yes, we dated for 4 years, 2010, 11, 12, 13. The fourth year, I fell pregnant with my son. Yo, during the pregnancy, I remember that's when I started seeing major changes with this man. Major. I started seeing him much less.
And we are recording. So re felletse mane mo. Oh, wa hopola.
Oh, example. Mara ke nana ne ke o hlalosetsa hore ne 2014. Oh, he started changing. All right. So, but one thing that I can't take away from him then, or what he did then. Okay. Okay. Sharp. All right. But one thing that I can't lie about is that he really did attend every single doctor's appointment regarding the child, of course. So he was there, and even when the child was born, he was right there. Yo, but one thing that I'm upset about is that we actually lost all our photos and videos that we took during my giving birth at the hospital. That was quite sad. But in any case, I was in a toxic relationship, and I was so in denial of it. I was completely in denial. I think it's always because when you find yourself in such a situation, you think, no, not me. I mean, this happens to other people, yes, but it can't be happening to me. And you are always trying to reason with, I don't know, with yourself, I guess. And it just got worse, and I just made matters very so bad for myself that I ended up actually not even valuing myself. I remember when his family threw me a baby shower, he was there, and at some point, I don't even understand why, but at some point he decided to just come in while the ladies were busy giving speeches to say, oh, we wish you well, Veronica. And then he walked into the house and he was like, she's my baby carrier. And thanks to something along those lines, that thank you for being baby carrier. And then he started laughing out alone. That was extremely sad for me, and he actually couldn't care less. I remember at the time, and I was already seeing very less of him, and I was almost due at the time when they threw the baby shower. And I remember when I was at the hospital, while I'm at that hospital bed, I was in severe pain. His phone rang, and then he went and answered it right just at the door there. But I could hear every single word, and he was telling that woman, I found out later, that He's gonna come and see her immediately after I've given birth. He was saying to her exactly that I'm giving birth and he's there and he's gonna go see her. And I remember, out of frustration, I'm all ugly, my nose is big, I'm like this, I'm like that. And here's this person just enjoying his life, seemingly enjoying his life with other women out there at the time. So I decided to ask him, who was that? And he looked at me straight in the eyes. He said to me, you can believe what you want to believe. My mom was sitting, he was sitting on this side of the bed and my mom was on the other end. But she couldn't hear what we were saying because she was busy talking with the nurses. I remember just laying back on the bed, on the hospital bed, and just sort of like that sigh of giving up. I just took that sigh of, this is it. I was in a relationship where I was so in love with this man who wasn't in love with me. And I think that's when reality actually struck, right there, like at that moment, because there's no way you're about to give this person a baby. And in my mind, it was, in my knowledge back then, it was his first baby because he never had a child. Well, when the baby was born, he literally just came to my house every time to just see his child and leave. See his child and leave. No affection. Never told me he loves me. None of that. So it was just starting to be more and more realistic to me. And I was starting to adjust to the fact that, listen, he's just the baby of my dad. Of my son, rather. So until he actually came to me at some point, came to my house and decided to talk about everything that has happened. And then he was like, he's very sorry, he's realized what he's been doing, how he's been treating me, blah blah blah, and he's sorry. Okay, fine, all right. He said that today. The next morning, this is now about 7 months after our son was born. I remember calling him in the morning because I had already started to going. I was already going back to work, and I called him to say, where are you? Because he used to come pick up the child so that I can go to work. Where are you? I'm already running late for work and whatnot. He's not picking up his phone. I'm stuck with a baby, a small baby, a 7-year-old or 6-month-old, 6-month-old baby. Okay. Here I am stuck with the 6-month-old baby in the middle of the street, looking left, right, and center to see if I can see this man anyway. He's nowhere to be found. He's not even coming. He's not even answering his phone. Until I decided to call for help. So I got a cousin of mine to come pick me up, relative actually. Then they took me to his house. So I literally went there, knocked at the door. He opened up. So I had my son's bag and I left my son with my cousin in the car. So I just took the bag to the room. So as soon as he opens the door, he's already like, oh, I'm so sorry. Hey, my phone. Then I just told him, okay, fine, just go get the baby in the car. And because I'm running late already. And then I just went to the bedroom to go put my son's bag. But something, that womanly instinct. I always say women have these instincts. I was like, no, man. I just decided to open the closet. And voila, to my surprise, butt naked woman in the closet. Hey, I actually thought it's like, I don't know. I thought it was like these stories that our grandmothers used to tell us growing up that, you have witches that run with like a broom in the night, and you might find them butt naked in the mornings. Our grannies used to tell us funny stories back then to say if your house is anointed, a witch will not be able to succeed in her ways, and you will eventually, or in the morning, you will find them in your yard butt naked. So I literally thought I was dreaming when I saw this woman butt naked in the closet there. I was like, I had to pinch myself a few times there. But that was happening. It was real. And, I can't even say, gosh, I don't even have words to describe how I felt. Now that I think of it, it was terrible. It was like, it felt like, my heart has just been ripped apart. Here's this man that I gave 5 years of my life. And for what? I actually realized that at no point did this man love me. When, where, how? So all these things are running through my mind as I'm walking down the passage going out to the car. I see him outside and he's not even looking at me. He just had the child like this and he's looking away, going back into the house. And that was it. I just said, okay, all right. That's it. And that's when I said, Veronica, girl, you need to catch a wake up call very quickly. Very, very quickly. You have a child now and you're still young, girl. You have a future more than anything. And I think that is where it's all started. That is where my whole mentality started changing. My attitude started changing. I started, having a strong relationship with the Lord as well. I'm not going to lie, that was my strongest, how can I put it? That is where I got my strength. That was what built me back up, having a relationship with the Lord. That's where I started. I started going to church more often, obviously, and just involving myself in other things except sitting at home thinking. I involved myself. I was more active at church. I started going for auditions. I started knocking on doors, knocking harder than before. I remember 5 or 6 months after that, I started getting a gig at BUTFM to be a newsreader, which I loved. And I excelled there. I really did. I did very well. I loved my job at BUTFM. And then, you know what? After that, doors just started opening. Opportunities just started coming. And I started studying again, went back to school. I furthered my studies. Wow. Until I actually got the gig at... I actually walked in at a macro store in the Val. And I saw this... Oh, no. So I met Sean Dazel at a macro store there while he's on the floor doing his thing. So he's on the mic and I'm like, okay, this looks interesting. So I walk up to him. Hi, Sean, how are you? No, I didn't know his name at the time. So I just walk up to this guy. How are you, sir? beautiful. I like what you're doing. That looks very interesting. He got off the mic and he asked me what I do. I told him I'm a news reader at VUTFM. And then he said, okay, just come next week Saturday. Just like that. He told me to come the next week on Saturday. And he's just going to test my voice and do the rounds with me and just see how my voice would just see if I'll do, just see what?
Just to see if I would sound good behind
Yeah,
the mic.
just to see if I would sound good behind the mic. All right, so next week Saturday I dress up and bad mistake that I made there. I wore a heel. I wore a long heel, but hey, all right. So only to find out that I was going to be in the store much longer than I expected and that's a huge store. Macro stores are huge. So I'm running around with the heel and a mic in the store, talking. And, he seemed like he was seeing potential more than happy about my voice or anything, but he could see because it was the first time ever doing that kind of emceeing, because I was more a radio person, not like live where there's customers. So, but he could tell that there's potential because I remember he told me to just come the next day, which was the Sunday. So I went back on the Sunday until I think I went for about 2 or 3 weeks until I got the job. And that's where it started, at Macroval. That's where my PA announcing what started?
I don't know, journey started.
My PA announcing journey started. And then, I remember then I just heard from, I don't even remember who told me that there were auditions in Germiston, Macro Germiston, for PA announcing. They were looking for announcers. And I decided to go there. And I met my current boss, actually. And he also auditioned me the first day. He asked me to come along the next Saturday when they were having other auditions. And I did. And he was very impressed, actually. Yeah, he was very impressed. And he told me that he definitely believes in my voice and that I can go places. Hey? All right. Okay. Because then I keep a hole and a point I can near
no, the thing is battery A. And then it's a monologue in the meantime. Yeah. Right, sharp.
Okay, so.
No.
Oh.
A.
Alright. Oh no, I was telling you that the audition go Germiston. My current boss, who was actually very impressed at the time, to say, listen here, when you have such great potential, he was like, wow, V, you have got potential and you're definitely gonna go far. So Okilawana, you come from Val, it's your first audition ever. Momo Joburg, it was my first audition ever at Joburg. And then I got that great compliment. And I was so happy. You know, that's when I just started seeing who was like, hey, life is not all about the negative, really. Life is definitely not all about the negative. And I started pushing even harder. I made sure that I pushed myself even harder, extra hard than I did before. And then opportunities just started opening, I must say, from then. Because I did this audition now with him in 2015. Was it 16 or 15? Okay, either way, but I had this audition, and then I think in about 3 or 4 months, I started working permanently as a PA announcer now, this side in Joburg, in Macro. I started working in Macro, Alberton. I started working in Macro Alberton, and then that was it. I then just started working for all the macros doing PA announcing until I went into game stores. But now, what's funny is that immediately when I started, being comfortable with myself and being comfortable with me being a single mother and actually enjoying it, that's when I'm now starting to get these calls from our beloved baby daddy. Okay, so now he starts calling very, very often, and it's like, okay, what's up? Until eventually he started saying, this is now a year. Yeah, it's like a year after him and I broke up. He's like, yeah, look, I see what I did. I see my mistakes. Can you please forgive me? Do you think we can try this again? Look, you're still the mother of my child. I'm the father of your child. Blah, blah, blah. But what's sad is that I actually did give him a chance. I actually did give him a chance at the time because I think I was still scared. I think I was still scared of firstly being a single mother. And I don't know, maybe I had some sort of crazy hope that he really has changed and so forth. Let me just tell you that it didn't even take 3 months. I found him again. With the very same woman that I found in the closet. With the very same woman that I found in the closet a year and a half back. And, well, this time when I found him, or when I found her, because he was not in the room, what happened was I actually went there. But what I liked is that I hadn't really confirmed. It had been just a few months, but I hadn't really confirmed that, him and I are back together again. It was just like, okay, let me just see. Let's see what's gonna happen. So when I found her I actually found her in the outside room. I found her there, and then when he came, he was like screaming to say, listen here, I can explain. She came here in the middle of no, he said something around the lines that she came at 2 a.m. in the morning and she was drunk, and yeah, I did not sleep with her. I definitely did not sleep with her. And he was, and the girl was like going crazy as well. Like, obviously she's feeling embarrassed, and she's like, you know what? Actually, did you even tell your woman that you have a child with me? Huh? You have a what? Only to find that he actually has another child, a baby girl. My son is now almost 2 years. Like the next month, my son will be turning 2 years. And I find out that this man has another child the same age as my little baby boy. That was a shock. And that was a big one there, like boof. It was so sad.
So how did you take it emotionally?
It tore me apart again. It tore me apart again, part 2. And I was going through those emotions, like, okay, this is happening to me again. Obviously, you're going through guilt as well. You're blaming yourself to say, how could I be so stupid? What was I thinking? And how could I not even see or know that this person has a child the same age as my baby boy? Here I am thinking I'm the only, or rather my son is the only child he has. But little did I know. So, all right, no problem. So I broke things up with him again, broke things up with him again, and I just went on with my life. I just kept on pushing, you know, and this was February that year. I think I was single. This was 2015, right? So then 2016, I was single the whole period. But what I can tell you is that I wanted nothing to do with men. Like, I did not want a man next to me. I wanted nothing to do with a man. That creature called a man. But anyway. So 2015, 2016, 2017, this year, actually, around, the beginning of the year, believe it or not, he calls again, gets a hold of me, and he's like, dramatic. He's crying on the phone. He sees his mistakes. He cannot live without me. Oh, and he's even praying now, because I'm a born again Christian and I have a strong relationship with the Lord, which he knows. He used that to get to me. This I'm talking this at 2017 now. And he's like, yeah, you know what? I understand that you don't want to fix things with me, but do me a favor. Please pray for me. This is him now. He's like, please pray for me. Or just pray for God. Oh yes, he said, please pray for God to help us. You know, you don't know what God wants, but he knows what he wants for us. So just pray for him to help us. And Maliva, believe it or not, I fell for this again. I fell for it again. And I'll tell you why. Because he came to my house at some point, still in January. I remember it was a rainy day, and he was on the ground with his knees telling my mom exactly what he did and how he understands the pain that he's put me through. And he is crying. He's on his knees, begging for me to take him back in his life. He's begging for me. You know what? While he was on his knees there, you won't believe, nah? My son actually, oopsie. While he was on his knees like that, my son actually went down on his knees as well, right next to him. And like I said, you won't believe that I actually fell for it. But this time, he was very clever about his well, he thought he was clever, or he was clever for a moment there. Because what he did is, he sent his family to my house for lobola negotiations. Funny, isn't it? So he sends his family to my house for the lobola negotiations. This was February the 19th now. So they come, and yes, they ask me, obviously, are you willing to marry him? Yes, I'm willing to marry him. Because at this point, I feel like, no, really now, this guy has put me through so much, and he's probably burned his fingers, and he now knows what not to do and what not. And it's all the Ali thing. Okay, yes, these are the lobola negotiations, February the 19th, March, April the 17th. I actually got back from work. It was a holiday. It was a public holiday. I got back from work, and I found him at his place, and he was actually drunk. And I was like, but wait a minute. How come you drunk so early in the day? And why you, I don't understand. This morning we were just talking about you and your high intake of alcohol. And I thought we understood each other to say, you must lay back a bit. Just just relax a bit with the alcohol. And then he just threw that whole conversation way out of proportion. What do you mean? What does my alcohol have to do with anything? Huh? Do you buy it for me? Do you buy it for me? Yeah? Do you buy me alcohol? You don't buy me alcohol. Yo. Like, he was literally just biting my head off. And he was drunk, mind you. Yo, he went as far as taking the car, driving off to my mother's place, and he tells my mom, yeah, I'm trying to control his life. And he's like, yeah, I'm trying to control his life. And he says to my mom, I broke up with him. I told him that I don't want him anymore. So I got home and I found him busy talking to my mom there. My mom asked what happened, and I told my mom that, no, it's because of his alcohol. Well, I see it as a problem. It has nothing to do with anything. So my mom was asking him, okay, fine. So do you see yourself, do you think you've got a problem? And he's like, no. And my mom was like, okay, but do you drink alcohol every day? And he's like, yes. And my mom was like, but you don't see that as a problem? He's like, no. Okay, fine. All right, so my mom decides, let's let it go. We'll talk another day when you both are calm. But things was fine then. So I took him like to the car. We hugged and everything. Okay, bye. Around 7:30 that night, I try to call him. He's not answering his phone. Call. He's not answering his phone. So, you know that woman instinct again? Yes, that woman instinct. And you just feel that something is wrong. I decide, nah, let me take my car and go see what's going on. I get to his house. He's not there. He's not there. The car is not there. Okay, now, there's something that I missed. I forgot to tell you that as he was begging for me to come back in his life, obviously we had to talk about the child now that I didn't know about. So what he did was, he told me that the mother is the one that is always running after him, and she leaves her things at his place and so forth. And he was even showing me this bag she just threw and came and left this bag here, what. And what happened was that day he actually went into the car and took me and my son and said, come, let's go, because we have to take these back to that woman's place, and I don't want to go to that woman's place alone. So I went. I thought it won't be too bad. I didn't think it's going to be like dramatic or anything. But we went there, and when we arrived there, he obviously knocked, and then the girl went crazy when she saw me and my son there at the door with him. And then he just gave her her things, put them there on the floor, and told her that this is my wife. I'm getting married to her, and please, can you just stop communicating with me? And from now on, whatever you want, or even if it's in regards with the child, speak to her. Then we left. But the girl went crazy. She jumped on top of him, scratched him. Obviously, she was upset, which I mean, I understand. All right, and but anyway, we then left. So the point there was that is how I knew where the girl stays. So this night now, as I'm calling him and not finding him, I went to his place and he's not there. I went to the girl's place, because I now know Mos. And when I got to the gate, there's his car. There's his car right there. All right. Okay, to be honest with you, I did actually jump the gate. I had to, because you know what? It was out of frustration. You name it, all combined, or combined so it was combined emotions there. I jumped the gate, and knock knock. Did you find the 9 rand? Malif, it looks like we don't have money, hey? Shut. Thank you, ne? All right, so I knock at the door, and I can hear that there's people in here. I don't know what was happening there, but she was sort of banging just a bit the cutlery just so I say something, maybe, I don't know. But I'm just knocking and I'm not saying anything. I'm knocking, until she was like, "Hey, Veronica." Oh gosh. Oh man. And then I was like, I'm still not saying anything and I'm knocking, but she's just not opening. She's making those noises, but she's not opening the door. So I'm getting actually very frustrated now. So I start knocking on the window. I was literally knocking. I was knocking. But I guess out of frustration, that window actually broke. And that is not something that I'm proud of. I'm really not proud of that. But I mean, it happened like that. So I was knocking, the window broke, and now, obviously, everybody at the hostel-ish type of setup is now thinking, what the hell is going on here? I mean, they stay there with their kids and all. But what happened was, she then opened. Immediately after the window broke, she opened the door. And then she opened the door. And then I obviously went in and I just let myself loose out of her hands. And I just went straight to the bedroom to open there. And there he is. He had jeans on. He was busy wearing his socks. Just jeans, nothing here. And the girl was she had like a pink gown, short like this. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you that when she tried to grab me as she opened through, the minute she tried, the gown opened so I could see she's naked there. And obviously now I see him there on the bed. And immediately when I went in, I was just like, you dog. I'm busy obviously insulting him. They're like, you dog. What type of creature are you, and so forth. But at this point, guys, I'm very, very frustrated. I don't know what to think. I can't even believe that this is the man that actually let his family come to my house to say he's getting married to me. I didn't think I even knew him at the time. I was like, who the hell is this person? Who are you? What type of a creature are you? It's like that man just switched from this person to this person very easily. It's like I was dealing with so many different people in one body. I really believe that I don't know who this person is. What type of creature does that over and over and over and over and over, hurting another human being just like that? Never mind the fact that I'm the mother of his child, but was it really necessary for him to put me through all that? But anyway. Oh gosh, anyway, then what happened there was, okay, because now I knocked at the window there, or I knocked on the window, the tenants are now obviously crowding up there in the room, and what happened next was is the saddest part of the story, actually. Saddest part of the story. Then there was this guy that actually it's his friend. He also stays there in the hostel. He was just on top of me, literally strangling me down to say, "Hey, wena, hey, hudula rona mona, hudula rona mona," and he's strangling me down in front of his eyes. In front of his eyes. He seated right there, doing nothing. Nothing. He did nothing to help me. Until all the tenants came, and there was this one colored woman, who was just like going crazy, grabbing me like just a bag of nothing, of rubbish. And she was like, yeah, she was just screaming. Everybody is there. I'm getting screamed at. People are grabbing me. And they threw me out like a dog. They threw me outside like I literally fell. And they threw me out. Listen, he never did a thing. He never did a thing. He never came out, not once. And now, at this point, as I fall onto the ground, at this point I'm thinking, Oh my, oh my, oh my word. What the hell did I put myself into? Sure. So I stand up from the ground there and try to make my way, and all I'm thinking at this moment is my car keys and my phone, because I had them in my hands when I was going in that room, and I'm trying to communicate with these people that guys, look, I just need my car keys and my car keys and my cell phone. And they didn't even want to listen to me. Like, they were just screaming, swearing at me. Some of them like just pointing at me like, look at you. And I remember seeing that girl that he was cheating with at the door. She was even wearing a pink gown, like I said, a short one, and she was standing right there at the door with her hands in the gown, and she was smiling. You know, she had a huge smile on her face. And you know, it is so sad. It is so sad because I remember at some point when the day I actually found her there the second time with that guy, when he was telling me that she... So then, okay, so, but that day, after I was the one fighting for her, because I remember that day I even fought for her when I found her there at that guy's house, and he was busy pointing fingers at her to say she came here, she was drunk, I fought for her because I told him that, listen here, God is going to deal with you. God is going to deal with you, because why are you doing this to this poor woman, you know? Why do you keep sleeping with her like this, closing her in closets and doing all these things, all these ugly things to her, or cruel acts towards her? But that day, she never even tried to help me when those tenants were throwing me out. In fact, she was smiling. She was at her door with her hands in her gown, with a huge smile on her face. All right, but that's all right. So this is now the point where I was so frustrated, and I'm thinking, oh man, I just need my car keys and my cell phone. So I start screaming his name now, the guy. I start screaming his name to say, can you please just give me my car keys and my phone? Until eventually a woman came out with my car keys and my cell phone to say, there you go. And I left. I was dragging my heart on the floor. Then I went home, told my parents, well, my dad was not there. I told my mom and everyone that was in the house at the moment, my sisters. And yeah, it was just so sad. Like, I wouldn't be able to even begin to explain how painful such a situation is. Actually, I wouldn't wish it for any woman, not at all, because it makes you feel so low, and it makes you feel that you are nothing. You know, you start doubting yourself, you start doubting your beauty, you start doubting your worth. You even ask yourself if you actually should be alive. What's your purpose? You start doubting your purpose in life. You know, it's like ripping someone's heart inside out. I couldn't even sleep that night. I didn't sleep actually that night. I did not sleep. I didn't. And what's worse is that I didn't sleep, but he even slept there. That very same night, he slept there with her. Didn't go back home. He didn't care. I remember how I kept driving slow after leaving that place, thinking I'll see his car behind me. And when I got home, I was even hesitating to close the gate. I thought I might see him rushing to me to try and explain. Nothing. Did not do that. He did not do that. In fact, he was enjoying that girl that night. And I never slept. And I remember just waking up in the AMs and just switching on the television. But you see, that's why I always say God never gives up on us. He never gives up on his children. Because I remember going to the dining room, switching on the TV, and the first, or rather what I came across there on the TV was that song, is it Sfiso? Is it Sipone? Yeah, Sipongwenya. And that guy was just saying, uJesu ufike ekuseni. He's like, uJesu ufika ekuseni, yekela ubuhlungu bukudle ebusuku. But in the morning, you will find your joy. And I think that gave me a little bit of strength there. It boosted me a bit there. But it was still a new day, and I still had to go face this guy because I had to go fetch a few things, because he was even using my cell phone. He was using my cell phone. I had to go get that, as well as my DVD, my movie, because I had shot a movie on Soweto TV. So I needed that for my portfolio. I was shooting a promo video. So anyway, come this morning now, the following morning, I have to go face this guy, ask for my things. You won't believe what he said. When I told him, can I please kindly have my phone? He told me, well, can he just use it? Can he please just use it for that day? Imagine. He's like, no, can he just use it first, please? I'll take it later. Obviously, I told him to flip and give me that phone. Yes. So he gave me my phone, and I needed the DVD. He refused to actually go home to go get the DVD for me, trying to pretend as if, no, he actually said, no, I'm not going to go back home now. I can't go back. As if, like, trying to pretend as if he slept at home. Ish, guy, I don't understand. I don't think, but anyway. So then I didn't have time for arguments. Obviously, I'm drained out at this point. So I just told him, it's fine. Can I have the keys? Can I just go get it myself? He gave me the key. I went there. You know, him refusing to go get that DVD for me was the biggest mistake that he did. It was the biggest mistake, and I'll tell you why. Because I got there in that room. As I was driving there, actually, the plan was, I was even planning in my head to say, I'm going to break this. I'm going to switch off his computer. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. All the horrible things that I was planning to go do when I got there. But when I got there, the Holy Spirit in me just said, just pray. Tell God, tell your dad everything that this guy has done. I laid on the floor. I cried out to the Lord, you know. I cried. I told the Lord how stupid I felt for obviously taking this man back in my life all this time and not learning. But I also told him that, Lord, he can't hurt people like this and just get away with it. He can't, because I'm not the only one that he's obviously done this to. Probably I'm not the only one, or I'm not the last one. I'm probably not the last one that he'll do this to. But I did tell God, and I actually felt better. I felt so much better. So I just after that, I just went and same day, I just went and I changed my cell phone numbers. I changed my cell phone numbers. I made sure that he will never be able to get a hold of me again, because he doesn't need to get a hold of me. My son stays with my parents. He doesn't stay with me. So if he needs to see my son, he can easily go home to my parents because it's not too far from his place. So I made sure that he does not get a hold of me. But you know what? I can say that even now I am still trying to put those bits and pieces together, but I'm doing so well without that man in my life. And I'm not talking about now finance or anything. Like, I just feel so healthy, if I can put it that way. I feel so healthy without him. Stress-free. It's like a black cloud just moving over, giving way for the sun to shine, and shine very brightly. Because the sun is shining brightly right now in my life, you know, by God's grace. By God's grace. Oh gosh, oh God, you know, I'm in shock every day. The opportunities that even bring themselves to me. I'm offered new opportunities almost daily, I could say, at work. I'm doing so well at work. I'm getting compliments. My bosses are happy with my performance. You know, I'm even gaining weight. Did you see my lift? I'm even gaining weight. You know, so all I can say is that, as extremely painful as it could be to go through such a situation, I'm talking to the woman that's watching this now and feeling my pain deeply. I know you cried with me there, but I'm saying to you today, get up and fight with a smile. Fight with a smile, and make sure that each and every day when you wake up, you make it a point to make sure that you rejoice, you be glad in that day that the Lord has made for you, and you excel in whatever you do. Doesn't matter what you do or what your career is, but make sure that your aim and point on a daily basis is to excel and to be number one. That's it. You know, gone are the days where women raise their sons and daughters to say, look, you need a partner in your life. You need a partner who's going to change your wheels, who's going to do this, and if you're a guy, who's going to cook for you. No, let's teach our children everything. Let's equip them enough that they can stand up as well and fight and say, listen, I don't need this, especially if it's unhealthy. Especially if it's unhealthy for them. They can't live in fear of being without a partner. For what? No. Let's not give people power over our lives. Let's not allow that. I'm actually specifically right now talking to women. Let's not give these men power. We can't. We cannot. We can't. We have to fight. We have to make sure that we stand together. And you know, out of everything that happened, what makes me more sad, or saddens me the most, is that girl didn't stand with me. The girl that the guy was cheating on me with, she was so happy to see another woman fall. I think that's what's more sad than even him cheating, the bastard cheating on me. That's fine. But for the fact that she didn't stand up and say no. no, I'm not gonna let another woman, because today it's me, tomorrow it's you. You understand? So let's not allow that. That's especially when you know it's so painful, because she knew. I mean, I found her, number one, in the closet. That was the first time. Clearly, if you agree for a guy to close you in the closet or lock you in the closet, whatever, it means you know in the first place that there's another woman there. And also, after everything that he has done to her, I mean, he went there with me to say, this is my wife, I don't. But she's still allowed. No, woman, we can't allow men to do that, please. Let's start having more values and valuing ourselves as well. Moral values, most importantly. Ke nahana jwalo. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, okay, sorry. All right, so now that that is the end of my day, I would just like to motivate all you ladies out there that have been in abusive relationships to say, please, number one, get out of there while you still have time. And number two, run after your dreams. Remember, this is a very short life and you do not have time to waste. Get out of the relationship. Make sure that you go out of or you run after your dreams and find what you are passionate about. Do good and excel in that. I love what I do here as a PA announcer. I am a professional newsreader as well. I have developed my skill and I've come to understand more about my skill as well, and many more talents that I actually have. So just be sure to make sure that in life you do not depend, ever depend on a man.
What do you do?
All right, so what I okay, so what I do here is called PA announcing. So that's basically when you are on the floor. It's okay.
It's fine. So if it makes you a lot more comfortable,
Okay.
as a PA announcer.
Right, so, right, sure. So what I do here is called PA announcing. That's basically retail radio. The only difference there is that you're literally on the floor. You are live with the customers and you're communicating with the customers as well. So you're definitely on your mic and you're literally giving promotions and you're telling people about macro, our credit cards, and would you like me to give you a pitch? No, you heard that inside. So
You can give us an example of a pitch. What would be a typical pitch on a typical day for a PA announcer?
well, number one, you have to remind them about all the departments that we have. Like I always remind them about liquor store because it is separated from the main store. So there need to be something like, all right, so ladies and gentlemen, just remember that we do have a macro liquor store here. It is right next door there where we've got your beers. We've got cider there, whiskey, wine, tequila, champagne, and no alcohol will be sold there to persons under the ages of 18 because right here at Macro Steuben's Valley, we support responsible drinking.
That sounds good. That was a good take.
Tell us, what do you love most? Like, what do you learn from your inner self? What have you discovered about yourself? All right, so what I've actually learned or come to discover about myself while doing PA announcing is my confidence. It's not easy to be, remember, this is live now. You're literally dealing with customers live and you're on the mic. So your voice is all over the complex, and I've developed a lot of confidence, you know, to stand in front of customers, and also it has taught me not to be a fake. You know, number one, you are promoting a deal to these customers. Smart people, we've got intelligent people out there, so you can't be lying about promotions or prices. They have to grow a relationship with you where they can trust you, so that when you get on that mic and promote an item, they are ready to say, look, it's Veronica that's selling that, so she can't lie, and they are comfortable enough to buy that product.
Was that a good take? Yes. Fantastic. So this is it.
Are you sure it was good? All right, let me tell you about the disadvantages of the job.
Okay.
We have disadvantages in this job, of course. Remember, you're using your voice here. So you can get like a flu or throat infections. So we do have those kind of disadvantages, and we do work on it. So it is not as easy as people might think it is to be a PA announcer, but we work around it. We're always trying to work very hard to protect our voices as PA announcers. I don't know if I said enough.
I think that covers basically what. Yeah, for now. Yeah.
She doesn't seem happy. She's like,
Yes.
Okay, done. You can go.
Yeah?
Okay, what are you going to get?
Yeah, like a video.
Okay, that's it. I think it.
That's it.
Nothing? Up to you.
Here, never just commence a vegetarian. Never get it as commence a vegetarian.
Mazalaka, mama.
So, never get chips, never get
Cheesy.
Tamati.
Cheesy.
Tamati. It was the only one specially made for me.
King of vegetarian, you know.
Yeah?
Vegetarian. I'm a little no sergeant told us. No sergeant pie go school.
When was this? I've never eaten pie with Never have I ever eaten
Come on, you
pie.
rush it.